Hi, welcome to our fifth episode of Friendship, Wellness, and Wisdom. I'm here with my co-host,
Rachel, hi.
and and I'm Heather. This week we're going to change it up. We just came off a 4-week self-care. So we talked about self-care, what it was and wasn't to us. We talked about our basic self-care, our basic needs, primal needs of self-care. We spoke about cultivating and giving ourselves love and compassion as we go through self-care. And then we built a self-care routine just to find the time throughout the day with awareness and things of that nature. This week, we're going to do something a little different. And we say different, but we really don't even know what our groove is yet. So,
Yeah,
we really don't know what
from the
different
past
is.
4 episodes. So.
Different from where we came from 4 episodes ago. But this week, we're going to focus on a thing for Rachel. She has built a sleep wellness system, pretty much, right?
Basically, yeah. I like that. A sleep
Yeah.
wellness system.
Yes.
I'm going to use that.
I love it. And she has actually helped me with my sleep. I don't sleep well. And so we're going to go through some questions as she develops the system and puts it out for the public to purchase and use. So we're going to just talk about that. And so I have some questions prepared for her, but I'm going to give it to you so you can just describe it, the basics of it,
Okay.
and then go into the questions.
Sounds great. Okay.
Awesome.
So basically, what I am working on right now is natural ways of getting a better night's sleep and creating an understanding of why we need to get that better night's sleep. So right now, if you go to 5minutesforme.com, there are currently 3 blog articles up on how much sleep you need and why, what happens when you sleep, and I can't even remember what the third one is. I have 11 articles in total. I am working on putting up the blog posts. They'll go up weekly on the website, and then I'm utilizing those to create courses. First course will be exercise for better sleep. So we'll be working on exercises that you can do before bed to help you get a good night's sleep, and what types of exercises you should be doing in the evening to help facilitate that sleep. And throughout the course and the next courses and throughout the articles, I will discuss basically some of the things that you can do during the day that will help cultivate getting a better night's sleep, creating a great like bedtime and nighttime routine, what foods can help you get, and drinks as well, get a good night's sleep, and how to like organize your room and set your bedroom up
Nice.
to create like kind of like a peaceful, tranquil space, so that when you walk into your bedroom, it's relaxing, it's calming, and it's going to help you in what you're supposed to do there, which is sleep.
Nice.
So that's what to look forward to. So there will be a series of blog posts. Eventually, when I get my new website up and running, there will be a course on exercises for better sleep. And then again, beyond that, like all kinds of things that you can do throughout your day to help you get a good night's sleep. So,
Wonderful. Yeah. So, how did you come about this journey that you were on? I mean, you've cultivated this. I mean, it seems like it's been a lifetime for you, right?
It's been a long time. Yeah.
Yeah. So what made you come across this journey for cultivating a better night's sleep?
So not sleeping basically is what did that for me. I was struggling to sleep, and I was always someone that slept very well. Like I had no problem. My head would hit the pillow, I would sleep, I would wake up the next morning, and
she did not like to be woken up. Just no, I'm throwing that in there because I know.
Never. It's like waking the sleeping dragon. Just don't do it.
Don't do it.
Well, the thing is too, though, with that, I never really I was never one to sleep in. Like I was never one to like really nap. So I got my sleep like from I went to bed
Mm-hmm.
and I woke up. I mean, I've always been one to wake up pretty early. I mean, depending in relation on what my day was like. So
Right.
I've had different schedules or whatever. But I was never really one to like to stay up late if I wasn't out doing something. Like, so if I
Right.
was home, I was going to go to bed earlier. And then I always woke up right around the same time, regardless. But I never really slept in or napped or anything like that unless I wasn't feeling well. And sleep
Mm-hmm.
was just an easy thing for me. Like it just was very natural. Like I was tired, I went to sleep. I woke up. And as I got older, that really changed for me. When I had kids, there was no sleeping through the night for a while. My first child was very easy and I got right back into a normal night's sleep. And my second child, I don't think like from the time I was pregnant until the time she was like maybe two, 2.5. I think
Mm-hmm.
I went a good 3 years without just like sleeping through the night at all
Wow.
because of that. Cause she was a terrible sleeper and she
Mm-hmm.
still like it took her into her teen years to be able to get a good night's sleep. And then I got diagnosed with fibromyalgia, and one of the effects of that is just not being able to sleep. And I went through like years and years and years of waking up in the middle of the night, um just either just waking up randomly for no reason, or I would wake up with a headache, I'd wake up in pain, and I couldn't sleep. And
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to take heavy meds, like, because that's all
Right.
anyone ever wants to give you is medication.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to find out why I wasn't sleeping, number
Right.
one, and I wanted to find natural and healthy ways
Mm-hmm.
to help myself sleep.
Right.
Because as I went through everything for like my pain, my headaches, my whatever, no one had an answer for me. No one knew why like any of this was happening to me. And all they wanted to do was like give me medicine.
Right.
I get a few other suggestions here or there, like things that might help, like, drink more water or,
Mm-hmm.
um, but the sleep route of it, there really wasn't too many answers. So I went kind of looking on my own, and I feel like the first place I went to was to learn how to relax a little bit more. And I found different types of meditation for that. And then, like some relaxing exercise practices.
Right. So when you found out that you had fibromyalgia, were you
Mhm.
already you were already not on a good sleep pattern? Like it was like that.
By the time that I found out about that, I had been struggling with sleep like on and off for years. And luckily for me, I would go through like these long periods of not being able to sleep, and then, by somehow, by like the grace of God, like I'd get like some time where I would get some good sleep
Mhm.
before that the pattern would kick in again.
Right.
So like to me, I was like, okay, I want to create like a consistency here. And that was also one of the things like my doctor told me like would really help me in dealing with everything, was to kind of create a sleep schedule. Go to
Mhm.
bed at the same time every night,
Mhm.
wake up at the same time every morning. So I started looking into that, and there's a lot of articles out there that basically tell you that creating like a sleep schedule is
Right.
definitely helpful. Like, because again, like anytime you're trying to create a pattern, and we've talked about this in like all other aspects, you start working on something, and the more consistently you do something, the more your body and your mind get comfortable with it, and the more
Right.
automatic it becomes. So if you go to bed every night at 9:30
Mhm.
and wake up every morning at 5:30, your body's just going to get used to that after a while. Or if you stay up till midnight and you sleep until 7 or 8, like your body will get used to that.
Right.
um and the great thing too is your brain will start to pick up on some of the things that you do before that even happens.
Okay.
So when you want to cultivate a routine, so you start, say you want to be asleep or start going to sleep by 10. So maybe at 9:30, you get up. you get changed if you're not changed already. You
Mm-hmm.
wash your face, you brush your teeth,
Mm-hmm.
you know, whatever other skincare that you're going to do, or
Right.
maybe you're going to sit and read for a little bit, meditate,
Yeah.
stretch. So now you're sending these signals to your brain like, okay, we know what happens here. We do all these things. And at the end of this, there's sleep.
It's like muscle
So
memory.
yeah. And that's, you're setting yourself up for that. Excuse me one second.
Perfect. Oh, you're fine.
And yeah, so it's a really great way to like start to pattern things. So, I knew, yes, like I have this, and sleep was a good way to help me get through like dealing with the pain and
Mm-hmm.
all of that. It was definitely contributing. So I started to look, for ways to create like a good nighttime schedule
Mm-hmm.
and things that I could do to help me sleep better throughout the night.
So, how long would you say it took you to build a pattern? How long, like, when did you realize, oh my God, I actually cultivated something and I slept through the night?
I think it took me a couple of months because um, I had to create a way to get myself calm
Right.
and to do the research
Mm-hmm.
because another issue, once and if anyone struggled with sleep and getting enough sleep, it can leave you very anxious
Mm-hmm.
and it can leave you very unfocused.
Right.
Um, so it's very difficult then to pin yourself down when you're tired, you're trying to get through your day, and now
Mm-hmm.
you're trying to like find information and create something. So it took me a while. Like it took some months to like find what I needed to do
Mm-hmm.
and then to implement it. And then on top of that, like some things I would find would help a bit, but it wasn't really enough. So I needed to go a little farther, a little deeper. I needed to look for some, some other things, some other
Mm-hmm.
habits, things to do different points of the day. So
Can I
with
ask?
me, yeah, go
Can I
ahead.
ask a question?
Sure.
Have you ever so you cultivated this, right? Have you ever, because of what you go through with
Mhm.
fibromyalgia, has it ever reverted back and then you have to like
Start
tweak
over
it?
again?
Yeah,
Yes,
like tweak it.
absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, there's definitely, and I continue to do that as like, I mean, you get older, you change, your life
Right. Right.
changes, right? So, I mean, I right now have an empty nest. My kids
Mm-hmm.
are out of the house. That has kind of changed my schedule and my pattern. I'm not picking anyone up, driving anyone anywhere. There's
Right.
no longer like kids coming in and out of my house like
Right.
later in the evening.
Yeah.
Um, so because I had one kid who was home from college and another kid who was commuting all
Mm-hmm.
of last year.
Right.
So I had adults in the house and they had different schedules, and some days they didn't have classes or they didn't have work.
Mm-hmm.
So they'd be going in and out.
That's my house.
And yeah,
That's my
and I'm
house.
like, so I had to make adjustments, right? And now I have a quiet house. So I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, so now I can tweak and adjust again for like what I like and what time I need to get into the
Right.
bathroom
Right.
and what time like I want to go to bed. And I definitely like do that and reassess. But I've tried things because I don't, you don't know what's going to work for you necessarily when you
Right.
start. So I tried different relaxation exercises,
Mm-hmm.
and some work really well when I'm feeling better. But if I'm already in pain, then they're not going to work for me. So then
Oh,
I have to adjust according to that. So
yeah.
if I was going to do like a progressive relaxation exercise, which is something I did like a lot in the beginning to help my body and brain like really learn how to relax,
Right.
um, I would do that. And if you don't know what it is, you're basically contracting
Mm-hmm.
a muscle group, you're holding it while breathing, always breathing, and then you let it relax and then focus on the feeling of the relaxed muscle. And what happens is you'll squeeze, all the blood will kind of come rushing to the area.
Mm-hmm.
And then as you relax, you can kind of feel your circulation change and you'll feel like the muscles start to relax a little bit. Sometimes you'll get like a rush,
Mm-hmm.
and you can feel the blood like running through or get like a little tingling sensation. And
So
then you
like
focus on,
a compression and an expansion, right?
yes.
Compression,
So, but
expand.
And then, so you're focusing on that and feeling what it feels like to relax. Now, if you have an area that's like just so painful,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes the act of just like
Yeah.
squeezing makes you tighten up more than you can even handle. And then
Mm-hmm.
it can cause a muscle spasm or,
Mm.
cause, um, so you need to learn that for like, what
Yeah.
feels good for you. And then when you're having a day or an evening where you're in so much pain, you might want to have something else in your arsenal to
Right.
use, because that's not something that's going to be available to you. So like on days like that, so maybe just a simple body scan meditation,
Mm-hmm.
which is very close.
Yes.
So you're going to, instead of contracting and releasing, you're just going to focus on your hands.
Oh.
And you're just going to connect and kind of imagine. What I like to do is imagine breathing in through my hands and then out through my hands,
Oh,
so
okay.
that you can kind of feel like, and you focus, like as you're breathing, you imagine the breath entering in through that part of your body and exiting through part of your body. And again, as you start to get used to it, a lot of people will start to feel their circulation. Like
Okay.
sometimes you'll get like a tingling or a relaxing feeling. And most of the time, it's just being aware of the circulation going through that part of your body. You may not feel that. That's fine too, but it's just what you're doing. And that's a more gentle way. You're bringing the
Mm-hmm.
focus to your body. You're letting the tension go without physically like kind of creating that contraction. So that might be something that's a little easier to do on a day where you're maybe
Okay.
not feeling quite so well. So like I spent a lot of time and I adapted things to how I'm feeling. So yeah, when I'm feeling a little bit better, I may do exercises before
Right.
gentle, very gentle, calming, relaxing exercises before I go to bed. But if I'm in pain, then I may need to do some things that are much more passive, listen to
Right.
a guided meditation, just work on gentle, like breathing exercises, maybe have like a cup of chamomile tea with honey to just help me further relax. So yes, I've tweaked things depending on
Mm-hmm.
how I'm feeling, what I'm going through, at the time, and things that I do kind of as needed
Okay.
to kind of add in there to the routine.
So when you first started the routine, how many hours of sleep would you say you were getting?
I probably was only getting about maybe 5 hours of sleep a night.
Okay.
And it wasn't like it was never in a row. So I could maybe go to bed at like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night
Mm-hmm.
and wake up at 6:30 in the morning, but only really have gotten 4 hours of very interrupted sleep.
Okay.
So I might fall asleep at like 10 o'clock at night and sleep until midnight,
Mm-hmm.
and then wake up 3 to 4 times from midnight till 2,
Oh, okay.
fall
So it
asleep
wasn't it
again.
wasn't consistent sleep.
And then I wouldn't even be all the way awake either.
Mm-hmm.
I would be laying there aware that I wasn't
Sleeping.
fully sleeping, but I didn't have the energy to get
Mm-hmm.
up and do anything. And that's, I've done some reading too. And I've read some things that were like, oh, well, if you wake up in the middle of the night, you could get up and do something. That wasn't possible. I didn't have
Right.
like, I couldn't get up. Like
Right.
I was so tired that I would
So
just lay there.
so how many hours, so in all your research, how many hours of sleep does an adult need? Like what should be the range that people are targeting for?
So typically, most adults need about 7 to 9 hours of
Seven
sleep
to nine
a
hours.
night.
Okay.
It does vary from person to person. Some people may only need 6 hours, some
Mm-hmm.
people may need as many as 10. And again, that can also vary depending on how you're feeling. Like, obviously, if you're ill and you normally get 7 hours of sleep and you've got a virus, well,
Mm-hmm.
you might need 10 hours of sleep that
Right.
day. You might need 12
Right.
because you're not feeling well. So,
Mm-hmm.
but typically, most adults should aim for 7 to 9 hours a night. Like, as as an end goal.
Right.
If you're only getting 5 hours of sleep a night or 4 hours of sleep a night, maybe look to add on like an hour at a time
Mm-hmm.
as you can comfortably build so that you can get used to that.
Right.
Because you don't want to, like, if your body's used to functioning on less,
Yes.
it may actually have a negative effect if you keep yourself in bed for too long. You may wake up with a headache or
Yep.
feeling like agitated or irritated.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to kind of go slowly and work on like easing yourself into
Yeah. I
maybe going to
remember
bed a little earlier.
when we were in one of our episodes, we had talked about I ran on a 4-hour sleep pattern from when my
Yeah.
kids were little, working 2 jobs and going to college. And I continued that 4-hour sleep pattern. And then you and I started working together, and I started getting more sleep, and I was non-functional,
Yeah.
like
It's,
non-functional. And it was really disturbing to me because I was I'm a production person. Like I am, that's what I do. I produce, right? And
mhm,
so it was just a very struggle time for me. And I was like, what is wrong with me? I'm getting more sleep than ever and I
right.
can't function. And then we had the conversation. It's like, you got to ease there, right? You got to get
Yeah,
the body used to being in the slumber. Um,
absolutely.
so, does it differ if you take naps during the day?
So again, this is going to vary from person to person. And I would think so. So if you normally get, X amount of sleep and go to bed at like, 9:30 at night, like especially depending on what time you take a nap. So if you
Right.
take like a quick cat nap at like 10 in the morning after you've been up since like 5 a.m. and then you still try to go to bed at 9:30 at night, it might not change anything, right? Because it's
Mhm.
just, but like if you're falling asleep at like 4:30 in the afternoon
Right.
and you sleep for 2 hours, then yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it could affect like how much sleep you're going to get that night. And typically you're probably going to want to go to sleep a little bit later.
Mhm.
But if you're trying to create a pattern, that's not something I suggest. But of course, with that, there's exceptions to every rule. If you're not feeling well,
Mhm.
or maybe,
What if your
you
pattern
started,
has a nap in it?
yeah, well, and then that's great because, like, you
Right?
know what? If then no, it's not going, if your pattern
Yeah.
has a nap in it, then it's not going to change your
Right.
nighttime sleep pattern, right? So then it won't affect you.
Right.
So it's everything is going to vary from person to person. And the thing with this is there's no absolutes here. You basically need to try things. You need to see what works for you, what
Mhm.
makes you feel the best,
Right.
and then adapt and change from there. Like there's no, it's never one size fits all, and not even for every person,
Mhm.
because as your life changes, as your schedule changes, as then the amount of sleep that you're going to need
Mhm.
will change. And again, just, how healthy you're feeling. There's so many variables. So
Right.
you want to find like kind of a loose pattern
Mhm.
and stick within that, because you want to be able to be flexible enough to like, go
Right.
step outside your box in your normal routine.
So the thing that you're building,
Mhm.
the thing that's going to be accessible is something like a toolbox, right? Like
Basically,
you're
yeah,
going
yeah,
to be giving people a toolbox of different trip tips and tricks. Hello,
yeah.
I got it. Tips and tricks they will need or can do to
Right.
figure out what their routine should be or could be. Right.
Absolutely. So there's suggestions.
Right.
Suggestions on um basically how to run your day, like maybe, what to eat
Mm-hmm.
and what not to eat like before sleep. Obviously, like some people say, "Oh, I can have coffee right before bed and it doesn't keep me from falling asleep." Well, that's great. Coffee doesn't keep me from falling asleep either, but it will also wake me up at
Mm-hmm.
2 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
Same thing with alcohol. Oh, I have a glass of wine before bed to relax me, and that helps me go to sleep. Great. And that actually may work for some people, and you may sleep like a baby through the night. And if that works for you, I am not one to judge.
I always
If
laugh at people say sleeping like a baby because babies are up every 2 hours.
Well, I mean, yeah, so there is that. Anyway, back to the wine. Before I lose my train of thought.
Sorry.
So you have the glass of wine, it relaxes you,
Uh-huh.
you go to bed. And
Right.
again, with that, now your body needs to break down this alcohol and process it, just
Mm-hmm.
like you even would with food. So now your body's working. It's trying to
Right.
process something and it wants to like kind of filter this out of your system. It may cause you to wake up in the middle of the night because your body is trying to process this and let it go. Same thing with food. If you eat 10, 12 o'clock, at night and then go to bed, you're digesting. So your body has to go through all these processes. It may cause heartburn. It may cause you to wake. Yeah, acid reflux, and it may cause you to like wake up again in the middle of the night. So there are certain timings that I actually have in my second article. It's like when to stop blank before bed. So it talks about the best times to, and again, you're going to adjust these to you and see what works for you, to stop eating, to stop consuming caffeine or alcohol before going to bed, and even when to stop exercising or like activities that cause you to like exert a lot of energy.
Right.
So, and it talks about, like how much time typically to have to wind down to get ready for bed.
Okay. And so I keep looking. I'm not looking away. I keep looking at notes that I took. So
no, I know I have notes too, which I keep glancing at.
I was super blessed to have I was super blessed to get all the information that you are building this course. And so it's a lot of information. It's a lot of really, really good information. And so I had tried to prepare myself just for this episode. And then what have you found that are the absolute worst things to eat? So we talked about your mom says you shouldn't eat right before you go to bed, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Right. And but they used to like say, oh, you'll have nightmares.
Right.
Well, yeah, not so much nightmares, maybe some heartburn, some indigestion.
Right.
Or again, so you want to stay away from things that are going to cause you to kind of be up and like awake. And so, I mean, caffeine, you want to avoid caffeine, and you want to keep that to the earlier part of your day. Not necessarily so that you can fall asleep, but you can stay asleep and sleep through the night. So you want to like, cut your caffeine off earlier in the day. Alcohol, which is funny, right? Because most people, if they're going to drink, they're going to drink in the evening. You're not going to want to do that right before bedtime either. My suggestion.
And we are not suggesting day drinking. We're not suggesting that.
No. I mean, but if you want to, I mean, who am I to judge, right? I mean, as long as you're not going to drive, No, but a glass of wine with dinner to relax, or even right after dinner is fine. But it's going to take about 4 hours for that alcohol to get processed out of your system. And if you are finding that is causing you to wake up, then you're going to want to have that earlier. If you're not having any trouble, like you're having a glass of wine like 2 hours before bed and it's not interrupting your sleep, that's up to you. But the research suggests that within 4 hours, that alcohol should be like passed through your system. And then it should not interfere with your sleep. Also sugar. I mean, and processed sugar is it's never good for you, like throughout the day.
Absolutely.
But especially right before bedtime. Number one, like, you're going to want to brush your teeth and get that off your teeth because it's not going to help any of that. But now your body has to like, it's going to burn it off. You're going to get that like quick burst of energy from the sugar and then kind of the crash. And it just may cause just disturbances in sleep. So I would avoid caffeine, alcohol, and sugar.
Okay.
Like processed sugar, especially.
That makes sense.
Before bed. Yeah.
So if somebody was to eat maybe some berries or something like that for a snack, that would be okay because those fruits are low in sugars.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, anything natural, because now it's wrapped in fiber and your body's got things to help it digest and to process it. Sure. I mean, again, you're not going to want to eat right before going to bed, but if you're eating like whole nutrient dense foods, they can actually like help supply your body with nutrients to keep you sleeping. And I do have a whole list of foods that are great to have before bed.
Awesome.
And again, whole foods, like these foods may contain some sugar, they may contain
Mhm.
some caffeine. Nothing in the foods
Yeah.
has alcohol, but because they're in their whole form, they have other nutrients within them that your body's going to utilize, and it's going to cause your body to process it differently.
Right.
So again, look out for that blog
Yes.
post. It'll be coming up like within the next few weeks to a month, and it'll basically be foods that are great to help you to sustain a good night's sleep.
And Rachel is going to link her website and where you can find a lot of this information on
In the
this
comments.
episode.
Yeah.
Yes. And then my last question for you um, would be, what is the best movement that you found right before sleep?
So before sleep, and it really it varies depending on how I'm feeling from night's night. Anything relaxing and gentle. So anything from just gentle stretches to yoga if you have a regular yoga practice, like a tai chi, qigong, like
Mm-hmm.
even some very gentle like flowing like Pilates moves. Like we're
Mm-hmm.
not doing hardcore like
Right.
core moves. I'm talking about like gentle flowing movements to release tension.
Okay.
Um that's what you want to go with, especially right before bedtime. It's going to help you reduce stress, relieve tension, and relax to get
Mm-hmm.
ready to go to sleep. So anything that's going to kind of put you in that very chilled, relaxed zone
Mm-hmm.
is, something that I would recommend doing before bed to add in as a part of your sleep routine to help
Mm-hmm.
your body know, hey, you're going to send signals. It's, we're preparing for sleep here.
And how long would you say prior to bed? I know you had talked about like a half an hour or whatever, but if you're going to do movement and then you're going to do like a skincare routine or, just
Okay.
your average brushing your teeth, like what's a good signal time to start signaling your brain?
So for me, I like to start kind of getting that signal in after dinner, right? So I
Mhm.
want to get changed. So I'm in comfy clothes. So that's like one signal that's coming down. I have my dinner. Maybe then, like, if I'm going to have like my dessert or some kind of
Mhm.
snack, like I'll have that. Once I'm done eating, that's when, like, if I go in to brush my teeth, I'll brush my teeth, I'll wash my face, I'll do my skincare. Then, as I'm moving into the bedroom,
Mhm.
that's usually when I will do either like some light stretching, and you don't have to do a whole series. Like we're talking about maybe picking the areas of your body that feel the most tense.
Right.
And sometimes that might require like a half hour. Sometimes it might require 15 minutes. So if I'm going to do like a full progressive relaxation routine,
Mhm.
then maybe take me like 10-15 minutes, and I can do that from my bed. Like I can
Right.
sit on the side of my bed, I can lay in my bed, I can do
Mhm.
that. So I would say like anywhere from a half hour to 15 minutes before you're ready to kind of wind down. If you want to start and have a longer routine, you can maybe do your exercise practice and then sit comfortably and read and like let
Mhm.
that, or listen to calming music, guided meditation. So I like to start kind of getting ready almost like I said, right after dinner, like changing into
Mhm.
comfy clothes. And it's a transition
Yeah.
like over a longer course of time. Not everyone has that. And I didn't used to have that when my kids were little.
Right.
Right. So I would like, you come home, you go here, you go here, you go here, you go here. And I'm like, if I need to be in bed by 10 o'clock and it's already like 9 o'clock here, well, then from like 9 to 10,
Right.
you get the kids to bed, or once they were older, like they're fending for themselves, like I'm putting myself to bed, so I'm going through my skincare,
Right.
and then I'm going to go through my wind down
Uh-huh.
or like my exercise, and then like sit in bed for a little bit and just kind of like I said, read, meditate, whatever,
Yeah.
and work down there. So again, you play with it. Like I
Right.
say, give yourself an hour, and
Okay.
you'll find I think that you have some extra time in there.
Right.
And then if you want to utilize that time to add like more things in, like
Right.
as you go, great. Then you've built yourself like kind of that wall, and you're like, saying, hey, like now I have this time for me. Like, what else can I do for myself?
Right.
So I say
That's
give
awesome.
yourself like half an hour to an hour to like
Yeah.
really kind of settle
It
in.
reminds me, like, as you're talking, like when you were like, well, right after dinner, like I'll change or whatever. When I do yoga, when I do a yoga practice, I watch some of my clients go right into autopilot as I cue things. I'm like, they already know where we're going because their muscle memory of their body
Absolutely.
is like, oh, we're moving into chair. We're moving into this.
Yeah,
We're
and that
moving
is
into that.
great too, and it works so well for relaxation. I remember, like, learning how to do the body scan meditation,
Yes.
and, I would after practicing, like, for a short time, I'd start to focus on my toes, and I work my way up
Hmm.
from the toes up to the top of the head, and I'd get to my feet, and by the time that I would get to my ankles,
Right.
my muscles will just start relaxing on their own. I don't even have to consciously think about them.
Right.
My ankles are relaxed. And then once they're relaxed, my calves will start to relax.
Yes.
And then my knees and like the float, like my body and brain knew what were coming next. And my muscles would just relax on their
Yeah.
own, all the way up to the top of my head with very little conscious effort
That's
from me,
awesome.
which
That's
is great.
awesome. So I am super excited for this journey for people to get better sleep. I am like I can tell you it has helped me so tremendously.
That's so great to hear.
Um, because I if I did go to sleep, I wouldn't stay asleep and things of that nature. And I still every once in a while I still have a day or two like where I'm just like, oh, I'm just not sleeping well. But allergies and weather and all that stuff play into that. But
Of
I'm
course.
super excited for your journey in this as well, because this is a new venture for you, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You are now, moving into, I mean, you're a trainer, you're a physical trainer, and things like that, but you're moving into this educational piece. And that is so super exciting. Like, I am totally
Yeah.
jazzed for you because I know that you've been doing all this work for so long. And so, like, I'm just beaming. I'm like, yes, this is
Yay.
happening. So we will link everything at the bottom of the episode for you to easily access the things that Rachel is doing because she's on fire. And she's doing some
I just gotta
amazing.
get my tech skills up now. I'm like, I
Yeah.
literally just have to get the technology to get everything out to you. So
Yes. And I think, I just think it's going to be so beautiful for people to find things that you've done all the research. Like you've done all this research and it's like a one-stop shop. And that's beautiful. So we will tuck that in the comments at the bottom of this episode, and we will have we don't really have a series set up for our next episodes coming, but we're working on it and we're collaborating, and this is very exciting. Our journey has been pretty cool. Pretty
yeah,
cool.
we're happy to
Um,
have you all along
yes,
for this
yes.
journey with us because who knows what we're gonna do next.
The one thing I would like to invite people to do before we close out this episode is if there are things that you're interested in, drop them in the comments.
Yes, please. We
And
really want to hear what you're interested in hearing
yes,
about.
yes. I'm more woo woo, and Rachel's more technique and technical. So we're kind of like bookends to a bunch of knowledge. So yeah, drop it in the comments. We appreciate each and every one of you. Subscribe if you like it, so you get notified,
Absolutely. Hit the
right?
bell. You got to smash
Yeah,
that for
yeah,
notification so you can see when we drop a new episode.
yes.
And honestly, comment, please. Add comments. Let us know what you want to hear, what you like,
Hmm.
maybe what we can improve on very nicely. Gently comment.
Be kind.
All right. And
We
on
are
that, we will say goodbye.
we will say goodbye. So have a wonderful week. We drop our episodes on Fridays. So until then, bye bye.